Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Scott Luton, Allison, Giddens with you here on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to today's live stream. Allison, how you doing today?
I'm good. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, happy Thanksgiving week, happy almost into November. And it's hard to believe we got a month and like a week left of 2025, huh?
That's wild. I'm still thinking 2024 is the year, so I'm very confused.
That might pose a problem or two in business, but we'll talk about that after the show. On today's show, folks, it's The Buzz, where every Monday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we discuss a variety of news and developments across global supply chain and business. News that matters is what we like to call it. And The Buzz is powered by our friends at OMP, a software and consulting company delivering advanced supply chain planning solutions specifically tailored to individual industries worldwide. You can learn more at omp.com. It's just that easy. Big show here teed up, Allison. Let's see here. We're going to be discussing the ripple effect related to declining imports from China. We're going to be talking about how retail supply chains may, let me emphasize that, may be getting disappointed by AI. We're going to take a look at top supply chain trends for 2026 as deemed by one great organization out there, as well as how Thanksgiving meal price points are looking this year. All that and much, much more. Allison, should be a great addition to The Buzz, huh?
I'm excited.
You are excited, and you contain it well.
Yes.
All right.
I'm only on like the third cup of coffee, so give me like halfway through The Buzz, and we'll be there.
Oh man, I'm well ahead of you. I think I'm on number 12 or 13 by this point. Let's see. Trisha says, happy Buzz Day. Let us know where you're tuned in from. That's right. We love connecting the dots, just like Shintu watching us via LinkedIn from India. Welcome. Look forward to hearing your thoughts on today's topic. Also, Trisha dropped a link to OMP. Check them out at omp.com. All right. So, folks, stay tuned for a great show. Two things before we get started here today. Number one, give us your take in the comments, whether you're tuned in via LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Facebook, Twitch, no matter what, let us know what you think. I'm thinking deviled eggs, I think. And secondly, if you enjoyed the show today, we'd love for you to share it with a friend and or your network. They'll be glad you did. Okay, Allison, by the way, a little sneak peek of coming attractions. Deviled eggs, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up if they're right out of the fridge.
Okay. Oh, yes.
It's
a great call out.
Yeah.
They got to be temperature controlled, folks. Mm-hmm. And Leah Kim is back with us. Leah, hope you're doing well. Tuned in again from Seattle, beautiful Seattle, Washington, via LinkedIn. Leah, looking forward to your take on some of the topics we talk about here today. All right, Allison, we've got three things to knock out before we get into the news of the day. I want to start with our latest edition of With That Said, which published over the weekend, as y'all know this, our almost weekly newsletter. And we led off with a bit of a recap of our participation in the 7th annual WISE Future Leaders Symposium. Now, this was hosted by WISE founder Dr. Stephanie Thomas at Dynamo at the University of Arkansas, one of the top-rated supply chain management programs in the world. Now, Allison, we shared some great nuggets from some of the sit-downs and stand-ups that we enjoyed, such as Michelle Livingston, right, who served as a senior supply chain executive at the Home Depot. Now, Michelle shared with me, Allison, that moving product isn't enough because supply chain leaders have a unique opportunity and capability to use their wherewithal to address issues of our time, such as human trafficking. Jessica Gambier, who is on the supply chain team over at Toyota Logistics Services. Yes, that Toyota, the famous global behemoth. Now, Jessica urged folks to keep being curious, as all that learning and stretching of your experiences will make sure AI becomes your assistant, not your replacement. Love that. And then one final one, Dr. Rod Thomas, moving mountains over there. He's co-editor-in-chief designate at the Journal of Business Logistics and also a former supply chain practitioner at Lowe's, IBM, and Michelin. Rod said that growth requires, I love this, sweaty palm moments. And he urged students and all professionals to dream bigger, take risks, and get deep into your uncomfort zone if you want to enjoy a truly meaningful and rewarding career. So with that said, covered all of that and more, resources, live events, give it a read and let us know what you think. Allison, did you get a chance to check out With That Said over the weekend?
I did. I always do. It's like a Sunday afternoon kind of happening. That's sitting on the couch scrolling going, oh yeah, With That Said is open. It has been posted officially. No, I really liked, well, first off, are you ever at home? Like, it seems like you have traveled a lot.
It's been a busy fourth quarter for us, Allison.
Man, sure. All over the place. I mean, I blink and you're in Africa. No, now you're in Arkansas. It's like, did he get on the wrong plane? So no, I really liked what Jessica said with Toyota. There was a part in the newsletter that you called out that she really is encouraging the next generation to be selective on where they go to work. And I work a little bit with some high schoolers at a local chamber of commerce program. And that's kind of one of the things that we tell them as well is, you've got this, what they call peak 18. So the 2025 graduating class that was just a few months ago, that's the largest high school graduating class in the country. From now on, those numbers decrease, and it's because of population. It's not because kids aren't graduating, although I don't know, maybe they're not. I don't know. But it's not so much that, it's the population. So if you think about the fact that now students should be more selective as they enter the workforce, and you think about the numbers and the demand that workforce is going to have, I really think this next generation, they're in the catbird seat.
Yeah.
So they really shouldn't settle.
That's excellent point. Number one, I appreciate you've always done a lot of work in the talent space and engaging student space, which is so important. And I know you've got we're going to have to do a whole show on some of the changes we need to make curriculum wise and guidance wise. But, it's really interesting, your point about the population declines. And so folks, if you think we've got a big talent acquisition or talent war right now, it sounds like it's just getting heating up. Huh? Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, folks, check out With That Said. You'll definitely, hopefully it gives you great eureka moments like Allison just shared, but check it out. It publishes almost every week. We'll probably skip over Thanksgiving weekend, as y'all might imagine, but check us out and let us know what you think. And then secondly, back to WISE. WISE is an incredible organization. We just talked a second ago about engaging talent and engaging the now generations, we like to call it here. Well, folks, especially if you're in academia, if you're, in a collegiate supply chain management program or university, whatever the right word is, if you don't know WISE yet, make sure it's on your radar. Here's all the schools, universities that are already part of WISE as it stands. Now, Allison, I draw your attention to my home state of South Carolina.
Oh no.
That's a gap.
We'll
get to address. That's right. But folks, the WISE Future Leaders Symposium was incredible. It was a 7th annual event, and I look forward to being back next year. So check out WISE, and we'll probably drop a link. There's definitely a link in With That Said. Okay, and I like Allison. With That Said is on your very competitive Sunday schedule.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially when my football teams are stinking, then, what else are you going to do?
Man, With That Said is better than the Atlanta Falcons this year.
Heck yeah.
All right, shifting gears, Allison. Is it just me, or do we waste a ton of time in meetings? It's a little graphic that popped up over social. It's a little throwback to my 1980s, G.I. Joes, I wish I had those. Stole it from the internet. But hey, couldn't this just have been an email? And if you're listening to us, it's basically a view into the supply chain war room. And they're having looks like a stand-up whiteboard meeting. And one person is just wondering, couldn't this just been an email exchange? But kidding aside, get this, Allison. According to some estimates, and there's a bunch of them that analyze meetings across the globe, here in the U.S., you name it. In the U.S. alone, according to one estimate, 35 million meetings take place every day, and unproductive meetings may be costing the U.S. economy over $250 billion a year. How about that?
That's disgusting.
Quick reaction, Allison.
That's disgusting. That's gross. And back to our workforce conversation, I wonder if some of this is I wonder if the problem is going to fix itself.
Oh,
because
no
you're
doubt.
not going to have time for, it's not as though we have these meetings to go out of our way to, quote, waste time. I don't think that's the intent, but I think that old habits die hard, and we all just kind of figure, oh, we all need to get in a room and talk about it. And we were talking right before the show that I've gotten better with asking for agendas before the meeting.
Yes.
And I think that helps, because if you do get an agenda and it looks like, oh, I have these answers, why do we even need to meet? Here, let me shoot you the document, or let me send you what I have so far. Then you've just saved 45 minutes, 60 minutes times whoever was in that meeting.
That's right. It's so true. And I'm looking forward to it changing. I was, as I self-identified on the LinkedIn post, I was a former meeting addict, right? Everything needed a meeting. You want a meeting? You want a meeting? Let's have a meeting. But it's interesting, especially my extremely talented colleagues have helped shape my view, where a lot of things can be, email, Slack, and phone calls and texting. It can't solve everything, but I've learned last few years, especially, they can save you a ton of your very finite time, because everything doesn't need a meeting.
But see, that's got to be tough for you, because you're a very collaborative person. Yes. And so it's tough, because, and I'm the opposite. I'm not that I'm not collaborative, but I am more of like, I'm just going to get it done myself. I'm just going to get it done myself. Where, I think that's probably a big portion of why you tended to want to schedule meetings, is you want consensus.
Allison, that's thank you very much. Number one. Number two, on that consensus note, a great friend, a very talented friend, told me years and years ago, because I went to him, I was kind of frustrated with how this cross-functional meeting went. He's like, Scott, hey man, it's great that you like the democratic process and everybody gets a vote, and but sometimes you got to be, as he said it, Genghis Khan. You got to just tell them what's going to happen and do it. And that was such a great moment earlier in my career, because I do like everyone to have a voice and a say so, but sometimes we got to prescribe the path ahead and make it happen. So anyway, folks, we welcome your comments. Trisha's dropping links to all this stuff. Thank you, Trisha and Amanda behind the scenes. Welcome your comments on meetings. Too many, not enough, you name it. And none of this is to say that you shouldn't go out there and visit your suppliers and tour their plants, all that stuff. We're not suggesting that at all, but check it out and let us know what you think. Okay, Allison, one more thing. We got lots of news to get through here today. I want to do a little OMP or lightning round here on the Buzz, powered by OMP. There we go. I think I said it right. Thanksgiving edition of the lightning round. So we're going to get to the bottom of some of your culinary shopping and overall Turkey Day habits. Okay? You ready? You buckled in, ready to go?
I'm ready. Seatbelts on.
5 questions. First one is cranberry sauce as a part of turkey dinner. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yes, but not canned.
Okay. All right. I'm double thumbs down on cranberry.
Really? Okay.
Stuffing or dressing? What's the proper word?
See, I grew up with stuffing, but then when I married a man from Middle Georgia, I learned it was dressing. So I kind of like them both. I don't like watery, but I don't like super dry.
Okay.
So I'm with whoever's making it. If it's good, I'll eat it, whatever.
As long as you have it, folks. Stuffing or dressing. Call it.
Yeah, you have to have it. Yeah.
Thirdly, is your Christmas tree already up, or do you wait until after Thanksgiving?
If I even put a Christmas tree up, it's a lot of work. After Thanksgiving, for sure. I don't begrudge anyone that does it beforehand. I kind of am jealous of those that want the holiday spirit a sixth of the year.
Okay. And then let's see here. After consuming the family meal on Black Friday, football games or fighting the masses for the best deals out there?
Oh, football games and then online shopping. I used to be a super early go stand in line person.
Okay.
And then I got old.
Yeah, getting old is no fun. I'm with you there. All right, 5th one. This might be the toughest question. If Thanksgiving dinner were a supply chain, which dish is always the bottleneck?
The turkey, because that's the one you work everything else around. That is in the theory of constraints, if you're going to pick the thing that takes the longest or the slowest, it's your turkey. So it's always the conversation is, well, if we put the potatoes on now and then we were able to mash them, then it's, we can pull it out right while the turkey's resting. So yeah, turkey.
I'm with you. I think that's a good one. That is a good one. Thank you for playing the lightning round. There are no right answers. However, we do welcome everybody's take on those topics and all these news topics we're about to take in. Now, T Squared says, now this is nourishment. You're right. Hey, Thanksgiving's a great holiday. And by the way, he adds cranberry sauce, whole cranberries. Okay.
Okay, I'm with you.
Their own. And going back to the meetings conversation, Kenyon says, and Kenyon, great to see you. It's good to see you in Ohio for an event a few months back. Kenyon says, at my previous internship at SpaceX, it was commonplace that, quote, if you don't have any value to add to the meeting, don't be in it, end quote. I love that. That's a great rule of thumb, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Allison, we got a lot to work. Enough fun. We got a lot of work to get into.
Stop having fun. Enough of that.
News stories from around the globe that hopefully is on your radar here on The Buzz, powered by our friends at OMP. Let's start with the first one. And this is where CNBC recently reported on the state of freight. Now, I'm going to unpack this article, and then I look forward to getting your take here, Allison. The U.S. Census Bureau data shows a big decline in imports in the month of August, just after more and more tariffs went into effect. Imagine that. August 2025 imports were $18.4 billion less than July. Mario Cordero, the CEO of the Port of Long Beach, said, quote, you're looking at the 16% decrease in Chinese imports coming to the United States. The decrease is across the board, end quote. Now, main categories, the big drivers, even though it's across the board, some main drivers here, import decrease drivers, I'll call them, electronics, furniture, and toys. Man, toys, bah humbug. What's up with that? Of course, many importers and retailers front-loaded their inventory earlier this year as they were looking to avoid the additional costs from tariffs and all those headaches. Now, Ken Adamo, who joined us here before, he serves as DAT Chief of Analytics, said, quote, freight volumes in the third quarter and October reflect what we're seeing in the broader goods economy, with shippers drawing on inventory buildup earlier in the year to reduce their exposure to tariffs and weak consumer demand. As a result, the traditional peak holiday shipping season looks virtually non-existent this year, end quote. How about that? And the data from DAT reflects just that. U.S. freight volumes are taking a big hit. Van truckloads in October were down 3% from the month earlier, 11% down from this time last year, year over year. Refrigerated truckloads were down 2% month over month and 7% year over year. And flatbed truckloads were also down 4% month over month and 3% year over year. One more quote for you, Allison. Kyle Henderson, CEO of Vizion, I think I said that right, is calling it a, quote, structural goods recession, as he doesn't see this as a seasonal dip or temporary correction. He says, quote, when furniture imports collapse 33% and toy imports, which historically surge 40 to 50% ahead of the holidays, when those things barely rise 17%, that tells you retailers are betting on the weakest consumer season in years, end quote. Allison, there's a ton there. What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts, it's crazy that you have all these different independent variables that we see over the last couple of years. It's really hard to sit there and put your finger and say it's because of this or it's because of that. I see that earlier in the year, I think a lot of consumers and a lot of businesses were sitting on what little cash they had. Yep. Because there was this anticipation that economy was kind of questionable. Nobody really knew what was going on with tariffs. So you had a lot of people sitting on cash. But again, it wasn't a whole heck of a lot of cash when they were sitting on it, at least from where I stand and where I was talking to other business owners and other consumers. But what I also noticed is my husband and I went to Micro Center this weekend. Micro Center is I don't know if that's a chain, maybe it's a chain, and it's electronic goods and things like that, right? Well, I was fascinated to see that there were certain products that there was very low supply on. And I asked Matt, who's pretty in tune with the IT and technology market, and he pointed out that there were certain versions of things that they were coming out with newer versions of, so that the manufacturer did not produce a lot of the previous version anymore because they were anticipating there being a demand and a decent amount of supply on something else. But conversely, they were so expensive. He said the price had gone up, that he was noticing almost 40% on things. Wow. So you have all these different variables, and it's fascinating to hear that someone who really knows what they're talking about says this is not just a blip on the radar screen. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I think with the when tariffs were kind of first starting out, when I was talking to other people, they weren't necessarily holding off on purchases. They were purchasing from other sources.
Right.
And so they were kind of figuring out their workaround. I wonder what percentage of those situations have now become the new pattern or the new habit. So if you used to buy from something that would be imported from China, and then a few months ago you decided, oh, I found this and it's an import from Malaysia, are you now that's your go-to?
Right.
So you didn't just lose the Chinese import was not just lost that once, but now it's lost for good.
Yeah. Great comments there, Allison. There's two things as I was listening to your take. There's two things. Number one, I'm thankful that the U.S. government is publishing data again, because during the shutdown, all that reporting, like from the Census Bureau, all that was shut down.
Yeah.
I was looking for source data in some of the shows we do, and it was all dated. And that's the first time it dawned on me that, right?
Wow.
So number one. Number two, I'm looking for a lot of year-end metrics and numbers and all, but one I am keenly interested in, I bet a lot of folks are, is consumer spending final totals through the end of the year, right? That'll be a very telling number. So we shall see, Allison.
Yes.
Hey, Gino Pledger, back with us. Good morning to you. He hails from North Alabama, doing big things in the industry, especially helping train up organizations. And he's a rock and roll drummer, by the way. Great to see you, Gino. And Trisha dropped a link to that great article from CNBC. Check it out and give us your take, your analysis of what has transpired, or your fearless prognostications of what we may be approaching in the months ahead. Okay, let's see here. From tariffs to retail. Let's pull this up here. So Mark Burstein, a contributor to Forbes Technology Council, says that retail supply chains need AI more than ever before. But he suggests AI is not cutting the mustard. By the way, that's an old phrase, not analogy. Cutting the mustard means whether they're meeting expectations or not, by the way. So anyway, did you know a recent MIT report found that 95% of organizations are seeing little to no return from their investments in Gen AI. Now, MIT researchers point to several challenges: brittle workflows, lack of contextual learning, or misalignment with day-to-day operations. And when you throw those challenges, as the article suggests, at global retail supply chains, which are highly complex, interconnected, fast-moving, and time-sensitive, well, no wonder there are some frustrations with AI and its results. Plus, retail supply chains have been amongst the hardest hit by tariffs that we we're just talking about. So there's an added considerable profit margin risk at play. Further complicating matters, it's a leadership problem. Gartner research shows that only 10% of CEOs say their organizations use AI strategically, implying there's no clear AI strategy. So what do? Gartner says you define a clear AI vision, you identify barriers to success, you implement strong AI governance, and you prioritize high impact initiatives that would deliver and position to deliver measurable ROI. I would add this, Allison, a couple points. It's critical to make sure we're using the right tools. AI isn't a perfect fit for every challenge, just like a hammer won't solve all of your construction problems. I know, I've tried. And two, learn from your failures like never before. Oh, here's a bonus one. As we've all seen, there are some retailers out there that are doing wonders with AI. Walmart, for example, they've deployed AI-driven systems globally that are making big strides in predicting demand, managing inventory, and even automatically rerouting or rebalancing stock when irregularities take place. So, Allison, your thoughts on AI in retail supply chains or in general?
Yeah, when I read this as well, I was kind of with you. I was like, wait, what are the expectations exactly? I mean, it's saying it's not meeting expectations. It's like, well, if you expected to download an application and it do the work of 10 people, like, what are we doing here, everybody? I think there's also a disconnect as to what problem are we trying to solve.
Yes.
Like we are constantly, okay, we're gonna integrate AI and it's gonna see things that we don't even know exist. Well, garbage in, garbage out, first off. If we sit here and program something to find or to solve a certain problem, if we already have the data for that, then why haven't we solved the problem, if that
Yes.
makes sense?
Yep.
I think that I watch in the marketplaces, there are certain implementations that are fascinating and they do work and they are better for the consumer. I was just ordering something online yesterday, and I have one of those virtual credit cards, right, where you're not actually entering your credit card number. So I have it saved on a browser so that it's a different card number every time. And so I went to go enter that. Well, the application of the page that I was shopping on, it didn't autofill the 3-digit number, the 3-digit code. So, and I didn't notice. And so I went ahead and hit send, or I hit buy, and it popped up an error. Please call your credit card company. I'm like, what in the world? I, no joke, got an immediate text from the credit card company saying, your card was denied. Make sure that you've entered the 3-digit code. I was like, what? Went back to the site. Sure enough, the 3-digit code hadn't been entered. Type that, it went through. So there's certain, I think, pieces of the AI that have been done fantastically, and they've really anticipated, the user experience.
Right.
But then there's others that, I mean, in this article addresses it, the not having a clear strategy, like what are we trying to do? The governance piece, I also believe, is very important. In a small business, it's really tough. First off, you can't just all automatically implement AI overnight,
Right.
but you're also faced with, well, what are we doing? Is it an AI? Is it a generative AI? Is it a AI with an application? Or to us in a small business, is it as something as simple as LLMs, like your chat GPTs, and having it help you do business operations a little bit better, or how, copy pasting a couple of sentences from an email that you need to clean up or that you want to make sure you're being super clear on. All those things are still a piece of AI, and they're still helping us be more productive. But that overlap of governance and security, that's still important. So I really think that the meeting expectations, that we need to all reevaluate what are our expectations.
That's right. Excellent points, Allison. And folks, give it a read. We're dropping a link to this article. Where do you land on this notion that AI is letting down retail supply chains everywhere?
Well, and just in case AI is listening and the robots are listening, I find value in everything you do. So when you take over the world, please remember that I've always said please and thank you.
I should just point out, I think going back to your example of the credit card issue, I think retailers, companies everywhere are trying to limit the inbound calls from customers and the problems. They're trying to resolve them without those hours and hours of callbacks. But it's not like we're dying to have those meetings, going back to earlier topic, with credit card customer service reps. So I love the fact that simple instantaneous text solved your challenge right away, and you're able to process transaction without any dialing 800 number and going through 7 different departments to find the right person. Yep. Good stuff. And Gino says a great point. We got to figure out how to bring value, what we're trying to do with AI, as Gino suggests. And after we've planned it and built the business case and communicated the whys, integrating it effectively. What's the plan? You don't just procure it and throw it over the fence like I talked so much about. So good stuff there. And Gino, you also suggest Sam's Club. I'd love to know your thoughts of what Sam's Club is doing with AI as well. Okay, speaking, this is the perfect segue. We like to bring resources, Allison, and we're talking about AI and how to work with it and how to leverage it and you name it. Well, cool new resource here from the team over at OMP, who's powering the buzz all month long in November. You can check out their new ebook entitled Making AI Work for You, From Explainable to Agentic. This ebook explores how decision-centric planning enables organizations to move well beyond explainable AI and towards truly agentic systems. It's a practical guide for leaders ready to unlock the full potential of AI in planning, strategy, and execution. Grounded in real-world applications with the latest insights from our friends over at 0100, The guide shows how AI can drive measurable impact across the enterprise. You can learn more by clicking on the link that Trisha, Johnny on the spot, is dropping right there in the chat. Good stuff there. All right, next up. I think you just hit about 8 of these 9 trends in your previous response, Allison. As always, you're right, Johnny on the spot as well. All right, the team at MHI, here in our third news story, has shared what they deemed the top supply chain trends for 2026. And here they are. They're in no particular order, right? Number 1, workforce and talent gap. That should be number 1, maybe. Artificial intelligence and the demands for real-time data is number 2. Automation and emerging technologies, number 3. Geopoliticals, trade, and tariffs, number 4. Uncertainty, inflation, and rising costs, number 5. We're going to touch on that too. Number 6, you were referencing earlier, cybersecurity, risk, and data security is number 7. E-commerce and inventory pressures is number 8. Agility and resiliency is number 9. Actually, I'm getting ahead. Look, there's 9 of them. I'm not sure which, but agility and resiliency, I think, is number 8 of 9. And then environmental sustainability is number 9. A couple observations on my end. I can't wait to get yours. We need to have returns on that list. Returns continues to be an area of investment, innovation, and a rising tide that, as Tony Schroeder would say, never gets enough attention. We got to have returns on that list. I think AI, I think, has to be the super trend, if that's a word, that sits atop the rest because it's impacting and driving innovation or challenges on all the other trends listed. In fact, I've heard some say that 2026 will be the year that AI moves from competitive advantage to competitive table stakes. I like that. 2, the workforce and talent gap, which we've talked about for years, we've talked about just within this hour, has been adding new twists. You know, Allison spoke about a couple of the new twists, right, with the population changes, how that impacts the talent pool. But here's another one. The members of the talent pool that are willing to learn how to work with AI versus those that don't lean into that, right? And hey, we all know who they are. I might be pointing at myself. 3, speaking of MHI, that's right. We're going to make a quick plug because we're going to be in Atlanta, home base, where MODEX is going to be joining us come April. And we invite you to come join us the 13th through the 16th next year. And you know what? It's free to attend. 30,000, 35,000 people will be here in Atlanta. Some of the biggest movers and shakers in global supply chain. So check that out. Allison, going back to the trends though. 9 trends. I tried to mess up the numbers, but 9 trends. Your thoughts there?
I was I was most fascinated with the uncertainty. I think it was number 5.
Yep.
And the uncertainty, it's funny, you have all this data, right? We're being inundated with charts and numbers and statistics and being told, here's the latest report of this. And yet we're still not sure of things. And I think it just shows how many independent variables really are at play here and how maybe more data isn't necessarily helpful data.
Yep.
And that uncertainty picture, it's always seems to me like those that are going to take certain risks, that's where your biggest payoffs are. And I don't know if that's investing in workforce. I don't know if that's investing in AI. I think as long as you have a strategy, it's a great idea. But it's that uncertainty is crazy. I think uncertainty is not, maybe this is a good soundbite. Uncertainty is not scalable. Like for a small business, uncertainty is terrifying. Uncertainty for a large business, yes, it's still scary, but you can hedge your bets on things. You have leverage in certain places where, we're going to invest AI in this, line of our business. And if it doesn't go well, we're already kind of overcharging the consumer over here. So that's going to help us pay for this. So, and I say that with love for my big corporations.
That's right.
Because I'm a stockholder with many of you. But I think that uncertainty is not scalable, and
right.
that can be scary.
That is a great soundbite, and I appreciate all of your perspective there, folks. We'd love to hear from you, whether here on the Buzz as we're live, or as if you're listening to the replay, or if you see this discussion over on social. Weigh in. What do you love about this list of 9 supply chain trends for 2026? What do they leave off? You think? Give us your take. And make sure you join us in Atlanta for MODEX. I was going to add one more thing. You're talking about risk a lot in your perspective there, Allison. I was just meeting with some outstanding innovators in the cargo security space this morning. And check out this factoid, because this is a big risk, growing risk. Since 2021 in the U.S., some data suggests that cargo theft has increased 1,500. That's right, 1,500%, costing an estimated 15 to 35 billion annually. They gave themselves some wiggle room there, lots of wiggle room, $20 billion worth of wiggle room.
Wow.
But no matter what data you look at, it is on the rise and has been on the rise for several years. And as you plot out your risk mitigation strategies, cargo security has to be on your list.
Oh, wow. You know, it's funny that you say that. What we just started doing here at WinTech,
Yeah.
I got tired of not knowing where certain product was in transit. And so there's certain higher dollar products that when we send them back and forth for like paint, when we know that we're going to see the item again, we put a little tile tracker in the box. And so at any point in time, I know exactly where they are. We tell the vendor, hey, if you see this, don't throw it away. It's just so that we know where this is. So that when our large freight companies out there tell us we don't know where your product is, we can say, we do.
Oh, I like that, Allison. I like that. And not to put you on the spot, is that a certain provider that you can share in case folks want to do the same?
A tile tracker.
Just tile tracker.
Just tile trackers.
All
and
right.
you could probably do Apple air tags.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just very inexpensive way of doing it. You can, you pay for upgrades and things like that to have more visibility or to share access. But for our purposes, it cost us $40.
When I was back, Allison, in the construction manufacturing industry years and years ago, might as well be decades and decades ago, I wish I was smart enough and wish we had a technology to do just that, because I went round and around as we shipped construction products out to job sites across North America. And I would duke it out with site managers. You didn't send it. We sent it.
Yes, we did.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Allison, where were you 20 years ago? Man.
No kidding. Me too. Where was I 20 years ago? Because we only just recently came up with this. It wasn't we've had hundreds of thousands of dollars lost or stolen or destroyed for us to finally go, wait a minute.
Well, folks, if this topic appeals to you, come join us December 5th as we talk about cargo. It's not exactly cargo security that Allison's talking about, but it's very related to it. Come join us for a live webinar at 12 noon Eastern time on December 5th. We might drop a link to that in the chat. Speaking of links, Allison, let's see here. Trisha has been busy. Trisha dropped that link to the OMP resource, all right, Making AI Work for You. Very practical guide there. Trisha dropped the non-supply chain trends for 2026 from our friends at MHI. Check that out. And, of course, the link to MODEX 2026, the place to be in supply chain in April. Okay, let's see here. We're going to hit a topic that's near and dear to your heart, Allison. And I'm looking forward to learning from you. So let's see here. As reported by Air and Space Forces magazine, the White House and the Pentagon plans to implement a reorganization which is aimed at, evidently, transforming the way the U.S. develops, sources, and fields weapons and platforms. Now, based on what I understand that's been proposed, which is on a pretty big scale, one former Senate Armed Services Committee staff director and defense consultant, which is named here, Arnold Panero, says this is the most sweeping package of reforms that he's seen in 50 years. Now, this is an interesting quote from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense or War, whatever you subscribe to. Quote, we mean to increase acquisition risk in order to decrease operational risk by taking greater calculated risk in how we build, buy, and maintain our systems. An 85% solution, he continues, in the hands of our armed forces today is infinitely better than an unachievable 100% solution endlessly undergoing testing or awaiting additional technological development, end quote. Now, Allison, in general, this is your space. Your thoughts here.
Oh my goodness. So when I first read this, part of me in the first part of the article, I cheered because I was like, yes, that's what manufacturers want to hear is that we're going to get orders quicker and that there's going to be less of a hang up on things. For example, this morning I spent 30 minutes having a conversation with a large aerospace company that didn't like the fact that I had put NA next to something that was not applicable. They wanted an explanation as to why it wasn't applicable. And so I had to point out it's because it says, and I said something extremely obvious. So those kinds of things in my head, if those can go away, then the government and then our country can get product a heck of a lot quicker. But then when you continue to read through the article, and it just like many things in government, the left hand and the right hand aren't maybe quite on the same page.
Right.
And the notion that that manufacturers and the notion that aerospace companies are dragging their feet and taking their sweet time. Oh, no, we're not. It's in our best interest to turn product. It's in our best interest to get product in, material in, manufacture it, and send it to the customer, and send it to the warfighter, and send it to the general on the battlefield. That is 100%. That is our driver. I mean, we talked about what Turkey being the constraint earlier, right? We are not the Turkey here. We are the manufacturer that wants this stuff on the floor. So I part of me is heartened to see these kinds of conversations, because I'm like, yes, change does need to be made. Acquisition strategy needs to be revisited. But the other part of me thinks, does this mean another layer? It can have the opposite effect.
Right. We're going to find out. And I'm intrigued by a couple of things here. Kind of going to the Secretary Hegseth's comments. I completely get how there's a famous general that I'm going to get the quote wrong. An actionable plan is better than a perfect plan, or something like that. I can't remember what general and who's. So I largely subscribe to that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things we do around here, they're not at the 6 Sigma level of quality, but they're at 5 Sigma, and that's pretty good.
Right.
If you can do that a month earlier, that's even better.
So what's the saying? The other saying is the path of indecision is paved with flat squirrels, right? So it's like we just need to do it.
That's right. I get it. On the other, maybe it's not on the other hand, but another thought that comes to my mind, Allison, and I was in the Air Force, 20 years ago, and a lot of things have changed. But I think when I think of how the national security landscape has changed in those 20 years, I think of speed to market. That has changed dramatically. 20 years ago, the supremacy that the U.S. had from a war fighting technology standpoint or protect the peace standpoint, right, was arguably, I'd say, maybe inarguably, heads and shoulders above the rest of the world, right? And now, as we've seen modern day technology change not only global business, but for good or for bad, global military innovation. And of course, as the U.S. now has near peers or at peers in terms of some of the countries out there that we are competing for influence or unit markets, you name it, speed to market. And I think of every military out there as they are pursuing their own agenda. It probably has that as one of their top priorities, right? Speed to market. And, and again, for good or for worse, for better or for worse, things like AI have enabled speed to market unlike probably anything we've seen in the modern history of warfare. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Allison, and by the way, I say all of that just by, kind of analyzing what it is. Of course, in my heart of hearts, we're entering a global period of world peace. However, my head does not necessarily agree with my heart. But Allison, your final word here.
No, yes, I've seen other conversations and other articles and research and memos from this administration that is also trying to figure out how you put your finger on it, the AI integration. How do we use today's technology and not necessarily get around the red tape, but how do we determine as a country what's more important? So a lot of the cybersecurity that I'm constantly living and breathing, having to work with, it's funny to think that we are having to be just as secure on a ground support rivet as opposed to an F-35 cockpit something or another. Like, what's more important to what should we be focused on? Should we be focused on that rivet for the ground support aircraft that is 60 years old? Not to say that we should just assume that the bad guys already have the technology, but
right.
When everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So if we can turn around and say, okay, these are the top technology that we're going to focus on. Now, how can we, instead of going through and jumping through all these hoops, how do we use what they call COTS, commercial on the shelf? How do we figure out how to best use the technology in those avenues and get the product out quicker without compromising safety of the warfighter?
Well said, Allison. Well said. And I appreciate what your organization, WinTech. And by the way, folks, I usually add it on the front end, but Allison leads a manufacturing operation that serves a wide variety of industries and sectors, but including the national defense industries. Did I say that right, Allison?
You got it. Yes.
So we look forward to your continued insights on the sourcing transformation that's being planned, and we'll see how it plays out. Folks, also, you can check out that great read. I call it a niche read, but a great supply chain read. What experts will watch as the Pentagon implements acquisition reform. Check it out and let us know what your take is. Okay, on a much, much lighter note, thankfully, Thanksgiving is still here this week. It hasn't been moved. Congress hasn't moved it to December yet or canceled it yet, which is good. Thanks, Congress. Let's check out some really good news here from our friends at the American Farm Bureau Federation. That's where we get this graphic and these numbers from. We'll take a look at how inflation or the lack thereof may be impacting Thanksgiving meals across the U.S. So the AFBF, which is the American Farm Bureau Federation, has been tracking grocery prices in November since all the way back in 1986. That's back when MTV still played music, folks. Now, as we all know, I miss those days, Allison. I miss those days. Some of them. But as we all know, there's plenty of data that shows inflationary pricing across industry, right? So I'm not looking at this as the golden standard of telling us about inflation, right? So keep that in mind. But according to this data, the cost of the same meal is the same meal that they always kind of stack the prices up against. So it's apples to apples. The cost of the same meal in 2025 versus 2024, well, the prices are down. In fact, down 5% from last year, according to their data. And get this, prices are down, they say, the data says, their data, for the third year in a row for a Thanksgiving meal for 10. The cost of turkey alone this year has dropped 16% from last year. But sweet potatoes are up 37%. And get this, a veggie tray, and they quantify that as carrots and celery, is up a whopping 61.3%. And if you look at it by region, you're going to find the cheapest Thanksgiving meal in the South at $50 and a penny, and the highest meal in the West at $61.75. So, Allison, bunch of numbers, bunch of data, bunch of good food. I'm not sure who has veggie trays in their Thanksgiving dinner. Don't invite me to your Thanksgiving dinner. But does this ring true, generally speaking, for your dinner prep at the Giddens household?
Well, I am reminded of the boil the frog analogy, right? So remember right after COVID, right after the pandemic, kind of that, and I say after, but it was like late 21, 22, where supply chain prices and things went wacky, right? I mean, they shot up. Yep. And a lot of it was that, whatever they call it, trailing indicator of sorts, right? I feel like things were super high there, and I don't really know that they're coming down. I think they're just trying to level out. And so boil the frog, we're sitting here and we can go, oh my gosh, the prices are down. But when you really think about it, you really look at it and you butt it up against how prices were in 2019, right, and you look at trends maybe where they should be, we're still higher than where we should be. And I recognize that's a loaded term, but everything from hourly wage to who's in the fields making it happen, and who's in the warehouses making it happen. So I don't know. Part of me is like, oh heck yeah, it's cheaper. I don't really know that it is.
Excellent comments. And I got to tell you, and maybe I'm out of touch. Maybe if you remember, Allison, back in the 90s, there was a famous at the time, famous little clip that news got of President George Bush the first going to a grocery store, and he had never been in a store, so he didn't know how the scanner worked, and he was like blown away. He didn't know how to work it right.
Yeah.
Might not be that out of touch, but when I see these prices for a Thanksgiving dinner of 10, and it's estimated nationally, the average is $55.18. That just for 10 people, that sounds really low. So I'm gonna have to dive into their source data, but hey, I'll take good news wherever we can find it. And if their data says that prices are down for a couple of years, I'll take it on its face value, and then we'll go digging into the numbers.
Yeah, I want to know what's on that menu though too, because
That's right.
if it's not stuff I like, then I'll pay the higher.
To that point, Allison, Amanda and I, and big thanks again to Amanda and Trisha behind the scenes. Amanda and I had dinner last week at a cool place in Athens, and they were advertising side dishes that folks can take home for Thanksgiving. Allison, oh my gosh, I want to say it was like $75 for a side of macaroni and cheese. And
But think about it. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean. They probably gave it to you in a pan that you throw away after.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, I need to get into the Thanksgiving side dish business. But anyway, speaking of, let's see. Amanda says, I've seen grocery prices generally on the rise, but right now, Thanksgiving grocery sales are incredible. I saw 49 cents a pound on sweet potatoes yesterday and turkeys that have been on sale for a month. Aldi even has a $40 Thanksgiving dinner menu and shopping list for $12. Love to see the prices going down, if only for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah.
Now one more thing on this topic, and then we're going to get your brave, bold, fearless prognostication. We can thank a supply chain planning error back in the day for the standard microwavable turkey dinner, right? That we've all enjoyed at some point in our lives, pretty inexpensive and not bad.
Enjoyed. We've all enjoyed. Put that in quotes.
I've loved them. I'll tell you, the stuffing, the potato, and the frozen turkey. Swanson was my go-to back in the day. But as the story goes, in a nutshell, they overplanned for turkey. Thought the demand would be off the charts. It was not. All of a sudden, they had tons and tons of turkey that they had to do something with. It's like back in the 50s, I think. So they came up with the idea of freezing it and creating meals. And hey, the market answered, and they liked it. I'm not sure if they still do some 75 years later, but I liked it. All right, so Allison. And Alan, you asked a good question. Alan says, Alan Jacques, great to see you. Why was Amanda doing the shopping? Alan, Amanda has all the smarts in our household. I've proven that to you over the years, my good friend.
Can I answer that from another person's perspective who insists on, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself.
That's right. It's so true. I can barely microwave a turkey dinner, much less source all of our Thanksgiving supply chain. But happy Thanksgiving. Hope you're doing well, Alan. Great to see you. Okay. Two things we're going to wrap with on a fast and furious finish. Number one, Allison, one big, bad, bold prediction for manufacturing in 2026. You're a big leader within that critical industry. What's your prediction?
I'm going to say it out loud. So if I say it out loud, it has to happen. I predict that small manufacturers are going to have much more leverage than they do right now. I think that they have always been nimble. They've always been able to pivot on a moment's notice and do something different because they don't have to cut through red tape to make it happen. Now, I don't know that we're going to see so many small manufacturers with a lot of investments or capital expenditures, but we're going to see manufacturers be able to say no to big guys and be able to command better prices. So, yeah, that's going to be my big, bold prediction that I really hope is right.
I like it. Well, I appreciate you're in the leadership chair, and I always enjoy your observations from industry. It's very valuable, finger on the pulse type of content and perspective. And I would add a hopeful corollary to that, if I use that word right. I hadn't used since college. We're already seeing some rethinking, I believe, of trade policy and what tariffs have delivered here in 2025 after, at least my perspective, a whole year where I didn't think it would still be lingering. And we see a lot of manufacturers, it's their top business challenge. I've seen a variety of surveys. I think next year, in addition to what you shared, that we're going to see a rethinking of our overall aggressive tariff approach and consider the ramifications and the ripple effect that it's caused. And we're going to see more serenity. We'll say that. We'll predict that, and hopefully it come to be true. Less headaches and global supply chain.
Say it out loud. Maybe things will happen, right? Say it to the universe.
Shout it from the mountaintop. Okay, so Allison Giddens, one more is my favorite thing to talk about. I love what you are doing at the Dave Krache Foundation. Folks, get this. The Dave Krache Foundation has helped almost 2,000 local kids here in the Metro Atlanta area play the sports they love. And we're talking about, families that may not be able to afford all the equipment costs or the application costs. Organized sports is pricey. And I love this practical mission, such an impactful mission y'all have been on here. So Allison, tell us, if I got all that right, tell us about the foundation and to also tell us how folks can jump in and support what you're doing.
No, thank you so much. And you and Supply Chain Now, you guys have always been awesome and supporting this cause. So thank you so much. We help kids play local sports when their families are going through rough times, whether it's a temporary financial hurdle in their lives or whether it's more of a longer term, you name it. We've probably helped a family through some stuff. So, and it's all with 100% volunteer organization. So we don't have any paid staff. So what 99.9 cents on the dollar go right to the cause, and that 0.1 is probably just the web hosting, to be honest, for the website. But yeah, it's a great organization. We have great volunteers, a terrific board. So yeah, we're doing good things, and a lot of kids get to play sports.
So folks, come, so many great causes out there, and there's lots of causes that you need to do your homework on, right? Check out Charity Navigator along those lines. But I can personally vet for the great work that the Dave Krache Foundation is doing. And we're honored to be a very small part of the mission. If you want to join, check out Dave Krache. That's KRACHE.com. Learn more. And as Allison shared last time she was with us, if you're in, Leah's in Seattle. If you're in beautiful Seattle and you want to stand up a similar mission, go check out DaveKrache.com because there's resources on there that will help you do so, right?
Yes, and it's it's easy to set up. The work is keeping it going, but if you've got a passion for it, there are kids that need you.
Outstanding. Really appreciate what you and Donna and the whole gang of powerful volunteers are doing. Very consequential mission. And we're going to be getting updated numbers soon, folks, because we believe that the number's over 2,000 now. So stay tuned. Next time Allison joins us, we'll be able to update that number. Okay. Folks, I want to encourage you to connect, follow, you name it. Allison on LinkedIn. We got our one click right there. And Allison, you always like to add a little disclaimer for folks that approach you on LinkedIn. What is that?
When you connect with me, include a note that you watched the buzz, because I don't necessarily blindly accept all connection requests. But if you say that you watched the buzz and you caught us here, then by all means, I'll accept.
Outstanding. So follow that rule of law. All right. So as we wrap here today, a big jam-packed edition of The Buzz. I bet I worked for about 7 hours getting ready for your appearance here, Allison. And it was all worth it. I think real slow, I want to thank my esteemed co-host, Allison Krache Giddens. Allison, I admire your industry leadership, and I admire your volunteer leadership on so many different levels. So thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me. It's always an honor to know you, and I am privileged to call you friend.
Same, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving to your entire family and to all of y'all out there that celebrate. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, hey, November offers a great month. We should do it year round, but a great month to be grateful for all that we have in this incredible journey that we're all on together. Big thanks to Amanda and Tricia behind the scenes. Appreciate all the great major league production support. And most importantly, a big thanks to our global audience out there, the smartest one in all of global supply chain. Thanks for being here with us today. So, but you got homework. And Allison backed up the truck, as Jake Barr would say, and unloaded a ton of actionable brilliance on us here. So take one thing you heard from me and Allison here today, share it with your team, put it into practice. Deeds, not words. That's how we're going to keep transforming global supply chain, global business. And with that said, on behalf of the entire Supply Chain Now team, Scott Luton, first wishing all that celebrate a very happy Thanksgiving. And secondly, I'm challenging you to do good, give forward, be the change that's needed. And we'll see you next time right back here on Supply Chain Now. Thanks, everybody.